The agenda,
I'll make that motion.
I'll second it.
any discussion about the agenda? Okay, all in favor
E.
and opposed? Seeing none, move on with the agenda. Public comment and communication on agenda items only to include Indian policies or procedures. Do I have any public comments? Nope.
Come on, you must have something to say.
Action items. Do we need to do these all?
You can do them all separately if you guys.
Yeah, because I had the questions and stuff on some things. So
Okay.
you could just, I'm sure it's just me because I'm new. But, well, which one we're going to do, filling vacancies first?
Yeah,
Okay, I'm ready.
I don't think I had any questions on that one, so.
okay, do I have a motion?
Motion to approve that.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Seeing none. Readings for bylaws 9223, filling vacancies is approved. Action item B, second reading board policy 0460, local control and accountability plan. Do I have a motion to approve that board policy?
I'll make that motion. I'll second.
Okay, discussion? No discussion. All in favor?
E.
Opposed? None. Action item B approved. Action item C, second reading bylaw 9270, conflict of interest.
Now, I had some discussion items on that one. Do we need to make the motion first and then do it during discussion, Madam President, or discuss first?
You know, actually, I always do that backwards. We really should discuss it first and then according to the new rules of order. So let's have that discussion.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, but then the motion might change.
Right. Yeah, chair as the trustees have clarifying questions.
I have clarifying question.
Okay,
Okay, on the, my problem is on the understanding of what this document actually is, and Carmen probably can clarify it for me, because it comes, my understanding, from the California State, California School Board Association. And they take the ed code and the new ed codes and then they change these up and stuff, but I don't know how much wiggle room we have in as far as how because it does say bylaw, but as for instance, in the second paragraph, I was wondering why if we could add a board member shall abstain from discussions related to and voting on personnel matters that uniquely affect the board members' relatives.
I thought about that too.
So that's my question. I mean, I'd like, because I can see where in a small community it gets uncomfortable to have to talk about someone's relatives, even in closed session, if they're closely related to that board member versus just them abstaining when the vote comes along. See what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
But I don't know if we have that much wiggle room where we could do that. That's normally how, like at the tribal councils, if you're related, you would, you would get up and leave.
Right.
And so that the conversation can be had more comfortably, and you don't have, that doesn't look like you're trying to influence the.
And does that happen a
conversation.
lot with them? Because what was said here, I think when this was brought up before, is the person said, well, they have so many relatives that they have to abstain from every
Well, if they had to, that's the way it is, that's the way it is. I mean, for me, I think that if you have a conflict, you have a conflict.
Especially because it's within the third degree. It's not like it's.
Right, and that was my second
Way out there,
question.
but this says it's within the third degree.
This says within the third degree, but also great uncles, aunts, and first cousins are in the first, are within the third degree. So they, I feel, should be added. Because that is part of the third, they leave out that little
Okay.
portion for some reason, and I don't know if there's. a
Well, no, it does
specific-
say that. It says the relationship with the third degree includes an individual parent, grandparents, children, grandchildren, great brothers, sisters, aunts, uncles, nieces, nephews.
But it doesn't say great uncles and aunts and first cousins.
Madam
Mine
President,
doesn't.
Yes.
I would recommend if you want to go ahead and make these additions that we can, but then we have legal look it over, just table it, have legal look it over the changes you want, and if that's legally something we can do, then you can revisit it at another time.
Okay, that's fine with me, because those were, because I don't know, I'd like to understand why it doesn't say great uncles, aunts, and first cousins, because they are within the third degree relatives also.
Right, yeah, it didn't say that.
And they are, first cousins in this community are like brothers and sisters,
Which
you
is
know.
why I get a little worried about limiting ourselves, because so many of us could have that. It could almost shut us down sometimes from having a quorum.
Not to have a quorum, yeah. Well, I think it depends. I mean, I think a conflict is a conflict,
Yeah,
and if it's not fair, it's not fair. But if it is a situation where they're really not that close, I think we can have that discussion and approve the participation. You know what I'm saying? But because I do see what you mean, because another issue is that I realized later on is if you have someone abstain, they can't be counted as part of your quorum either. So then you could lose your quorum. But if it's unfair, it's unfair. A conflict is a conflict, so we have to deal with it somehow. And I'm not even as, it's clear with the voting, but I think, when you get into certain discussions, I know that I have felt uncomfortable, really uncomfortable. And I don't think we should feel that way. We shouldn't be made to feel that way. We should be able to have good conversation about issues. And sometimes you just, if there's a conflict, if there's conflict, and it could happen to any of us at any time. But those were my main questions with this one. Okay. So if we want to just do that and then have the attorney look at it and maybe tell us why that is, if it is, because it could be that they just don't list every single person. They're just giving an example of what to the third degree is.
it does say that a board member may vote on collective bargaining agreements and personnel matters that affect the class of employees to which the board member gets involved. So kind of, in a way, that kind of gives us a little room there.
Exactly.
It's just not the way you're saying is specific people.
Specific issue, yeah, with a specific issue, with a specific employee or whatever, yeah.
Okay, so, yeah, could you get a hold of?
We'll do the changes, suggest the changes that we want. And afterwards.
Second reading for bylaw 9320 meetings and notices.
I had some questions on this one, if anybody else. Go ahead. Okay, well, this is the one also, Dana, that mine is different.
Oh, yeah, let me have your copy and I'll go.
Yeah,
copy
it's
it.
look. So. This is the one I have. And. This is the first. That's the first reading. This is this one was. That's right. Yeah, but it had cross out on it. Oh, it does, on page 2. Yeah, see, it has a lot of cross outs on it that aren't in that.
So let me go copy this.
So that's why I was.
It's this one, right?
Yes.
Okay.
But I don't know if we need to actually have a bunch of copies made, because I can, you can just look at that. That was my question, was didn't we have some kind of discussions that we weren't gonna put in the exact, list for some reason, because it's not in this one, but I mean. And in this one is not this little part about the board shall hold regular meetings each month. One regular meeting each month, regular meetings shall be held at 5 p.m. on the second Tuesday of the month at the following locations.
On page 1.
Yeah, I mean, did we have a discussion where we were gonna pull that out? Because I like it in fine, but my copy, it was pulled out, and this one was done after this one.
Oh, and then maybe that's
See,
what
that's-
I thought we were gonna put it in, so it wasn't confusion. It's up to you guys. Do you want to leave it in? I think you are supposed to identify in
Yeah.
advance where you're gonna hold your meetings at.
I thought it should be in.
Yeah, that was my question, because this one came after
Okay.
this, and it's
Okay.
not in. But I know and it doesn't hold us to, well, it does, it says January, February, and March. Maybe that was the discussion, maybe we didn't want, maybe we wanted to be able to mix it up or something, I don't know. Does anybody else remember a conversation about that? I mean, I barely remember something about that.
I just know it's always been this schedule.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
in that schedule.
Forever, as long as I remember, 20-something, almost 20-something years, right?
I know what it was, I think more it was, maybe if we can just put the locations and not the month. And then we make sure we go to each, because, I think the discussion was, because remember, like, some things have fallen on a, agenda month that would have been better to have here, but we were clear down at Jack Norton, so some people really couldn't, because you couldn't come from here down to there.
I remember
Remember
that
that?
conversation,
May.
that it may have a
May
lot
it's
of
always
issues that,
That's a lot of personnel issues.
Yes.
And March
Yeah.
too, isn't March with another one
March
too?
is the
I do
other.
remember that.
March is
Yeah.
here.
March, the May, you're right.
Here.
So,
And
yeah,
May has always been
Yeah.
really hard.
So we can just move them around. Which are the meetings, if you know, we'll move them, because we have to post this. I have to post this.
Yeah.
You guys,
Do you have to post a month? Or do you just have to post the location?
Location.
That they might be, because I
the
think we just.
location and the month, people have to know in
Yeah.
advance.
Well, no, I mean, but do they have to know 6 months in advance, or can they know when you do the,
I think our calendar has to be posted
Right.
in advance.
It's one of the first things you do when you become a new board every year. You have to post your calendar.
post the calendar, with the
Yeah,
location
with
of
the
every.
locations and everything.
That's usually done in December.
And it's the December meeting. And then Carmi brought up too that our January meeting, we always have it right at the second Tuesday of the month, where we're not even usually back at school. So we need to move that one later. There's a lot of different things we were looking at.
June, it seems like it often conflicts with
The
graduation.
June
week.
is another
Oh,
one.
this year it won't. Graduation week will be after, so this year it won't. There's no reason we couldn't switch October and May and do May at Witchpeck. That's still within distance of everybody.
So which peck would be May?
You just want to flop them then?
Yeah,
I mean, because I was just thinking, do you have any kind of wiggle room if you give enough advance notice once you state your calendar?
No, as long as you give a note, date, you
Yeah.
have to change the date. You can change them at any time. But if we change these now, like the Witch Peck one to May, And Jack Norton, when did you suggest it to October? When did you?
Jack,
Yeah.
yeah, Jack Norton to October.
Okay,
Well, that would just, then that would just change which Beck and Jack Norton not.
okay.
It would get that May meeting closer to everybody though.
Yeah, but you gotta consider the weather and weather going through to Jack Norton too.
It's not usually that bad in
In
October.
October, early October, it's early,
Yeah.
right? It's like.
Yeah.
You know,
I mean, I would say our worst weather is December to March.
usually the end of.
Well, I
October
mean,
starts
and then of
getting-
course there's summertime. I mean, actually those are good.
Yeah,
Do you guys still like the 5 o'clock? We did the 5 o'clock because of the townhouse, the town hall meetings. Are we still going to do the? Are we still going to do the 5 o'clock?
I know what's a different time.
5:30.
Personally,
Oh, no, we don't want too late.
Six.
I don't want too late. We gotta stay at the
You want to
five.
compromise and go with 5:30 instead of 5?
no,
No, I
Five.
think Five, yeah.
Okay. Leave.
I mean, as long as the community and people getting off work though too, to think about if they're gonna come.
That's the thing. If you're in Orleans and you get off work at 5, you don't make it to Hoopa in time for a meeting. Or if you live at Jack Norton and you don't get off work, you can't make it to Hoopa or Trinity Valley for a meeting.
But the nice thing is now is that if the packet is out and it says when your dates are and stuff and everybody gets used to it at 5, they'll know that it's 5. I
And they
mean,
can make it.
me as a community member and a worker, I like the idea of a set schedule of
Yeah.
like 5 so that I always know the second Tuesday of the month, I have a board meeting or.
Right, and make adjustments on your job.
make
or
adjustments on your
whatever.
schedule.
Or people could.
Because it really is important, I think, for us to start at a decent time so that we end at a decent. time,
Right.
Because it really is true. Once 10 o'clock comes around, it's really hard to keep going and make really good decisions.
Well, are we gonna, or did we talk about, are we still gonna have the more meetings?
No,
open meetings? or
We're not
whatever?
having the town hall.
Did we vote on that at some point?
Oh, I don't think it was even something we do, just kind of
It's
need.
not
to
been
discuss.
agendized.
Oh,
It-
no.
It hasn't
We
been,
haven't discussed
it
it.
hasn't been just successful. It started out really good. And then it went south. I'm looking for a pen. Does anybody have a pen?
Here, here's one right here by you.
Oh, there it, oh,
She always.
It was
uses-
tight.
I know. I thought that was weird, but I didn't.
It's probably scarier. Oh.
Carly took it.
Yeah.
So leave 5 o'clock, switch October and May.
And also, I mean, so I just so I'm clear. Once this is set with the month and the location, that can't be changed, or we can change
You
it,
can, it's on.
Okay, that's what I
We have
wanted
to
to
give a 72-hour notice.
that we're changing a location.
Yeah,
Okay,
Right,
and we've had to do that in the past. It has.
we have.
okay. That's good then. I'm fine with that. That answered that question. And oh, and on page, let me see if it's in this one where it says special meetings. I was just wondering, it says special meetings of the board may be called at any time by the presiding officer or a majority of the board members. So it's presiding officer or president, is that you? Because I would rather say board president
You could put that in there.
instead of presiding officer, don't you think? I mean, does
Presiding-
anybody else?
So it should be president with the
Board president
president, board president.
or a majority of the board members. I just think that looks better and it flows better than presiding officer. I mean, that could be dude, because he's our presiding officer.
No,
I mean, dude.
but he doesn't preside over the board.
No, but I mean, if somebody's reading this who doesn't really know.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I like
board
president. That is
president
clear.
is clearer.
I guess because they're called different things in different places, you know,
Yeah.
for chairman, for.
And we always call the board president,
Yeah.
board president, so. Okay, that was one question. I like that. Okay, now, my next question is on, when we're talking about the traditional teleconferencing. And when they're talking about the teleconferencing, and then they, about a board member and can do 2 a year, I think it says, or something. So I'm wondering, when it says the district shall also provide public access to the meeting via a two-way audio visual platform or two-way audio, those 2 last paragraphs. Does that mean if we have, for some reason, one of our board members coming in through teleconferencing, that we have to provide teleconferencing for everyone?
Only if that board member, tell me if I'm wrong, Dana, but if the board member is doing that because, well, for example, Paige did that. He had to be where he was, so it was an emergency that he be where he was. If it's just because he's gone, that's not okay.
No, I'm talking
Oh, you're
about I'm talking about because down here, the last 2 paragraphs, and then it says if a disruption prevents broadcasting the meeting to members of the public using the call-in option or internet-based service option, or a disruption that is within the board's control prevents members of the public from offering public comment using the call-in option or internet-based service option, the board shall not take action on agenda items until the public access to the meeting is restored.
Is that down at the bottom on 6?
It's the last 2 paragraphs of traditional teleconferencing, and it's also in just cause conferencing and state of emergency teleconferencing.
So if I could just give
Do
you
you know?
an example, when if we are going to do teleconferencing for the JPA out of the county, I have to let them know prior to, they put it on their agenda, and I have to post it in public, and I have to have available my Zoom, and they can come, the public can come and sit in my office with me if I'm unable to make it to the coast. It's the same as if you were at, say, you were traveling at a motel. You'd have to post that outside of wherever room you are in so that your public could sit and have that access as well.
Okay, now that's what I thought it was but the way this reads, this makes it sound like if a board member is participating through the teleconferencing, that you also have to provide it to the public. That's what
That board
that's what
member
it
would
looks
have,
like.
yes, that board member would then have to share their laptop.
No, this is, no, I'm talking about the last paragraph where it says if you lose internet, you can't take action on any action items.
Yes.
So what I'm saying is, I think it's that, like you said, I think it's a different circumstance. And I'm wondering if we could if there should be a heading or something there, because this, the way it reads,
What
makes,
page number?
I'm on page 34 on this one. Let me see.
Oh.
I'm on
Wait,
page
let me see
6.
what.
Well, you're underneath.
You're under,
Yeah, page 5.
Okay, page 5, okay.
This is way different than mine.
Yours is different.
So,
Yeah.
is it before the heading?
Here's copies of those if you'd like to look at them.
Yeah, it says all teleconference locations shall be accessible to the public. And see, and I thought, so, that's, you see what I'm saying?
That's for the location of.
During a personal emergency, if permitted for this, the board members shall use, look at page 5, the very bottom. And then at the top of page 6, the district shall also provide public access to the meeting for yada, yada, yada. Then it says the next paragraph, if your internet goes out, then you can't do action on any agenda items. But I thought it was just and they're talking about for the public. The disruption prevents broadcast of meeting of the option, not internet is a disruption. Disruption that is within the board's control, and that's members of the public, often the public comment, using the public, or shall not be out of the line. So if their meeting goes haywire, they're not taking the action. Are we?
Yeah, so
This
if
says it's gotta have, the public has to have access to. So is that what I'm asking is this tied to the teleconferencing during a personal emergency? That's what it, because that's what it's under.
Yes, it is.
So
The heading is for a personal emergency.
for a board member.
Yes, because
So if the board members participating by teleconferencing, we've gotta provide it to the whole public.
if they have to do it, the whole public, and if that person, if the board members Zoom or internet goes haywire, no longer stays with the, that's what that says.
Yeah, but this is talking about the, having public comment on Zoom. Like, so
They have to
but we don't do that, we just,
They just have to
read
sit,
it.
they don't have to, so when a person is calling in from Zoom, they have to have their laptop or wherever they're sitting available to the public.
Public can come in wherever they're at. They have
Watch your computer with you while you're on the Zoom board member. Not, they don't necessarily log on to the Zoom, they don't do that. They're actually sitting in that public location wherever a board member is at.
I mean, no, I don't think that's, no, this is.
what you're asking
Oh,
is,
good, you know,
okay, so I just use that. Okay, what you're asking is if the public loses contact, then we can take it.
If it's just supposed to be that's the part I don't understand, because it's just supposed to be when a board member has twice a year, you're allowed to teleconference in for an emergency, for the just cause, for an emergency, during a personal emergency and state of emergency.
So but it sounds like,
But they would, but the public isn't supposed to be, with, I mean, say that time page was, we didn't disclose his location and there was no public, but he is, you are supposed to announce if there's anyone over 18 in the room. But you don't have to provide your, to the public if you're not, if you're sick and in quarantine, you're supposed to. So when I didn't see any of that,
That's what that last sentence means, though, is that.
Okay, so it does specifically say here, if it's under our control, so it's our control, so if our meeting goes blank, like we can't broadcast, then we cannot take action.
If we have
If
somebody.
we have set
If
that
we
up to
have.
broadcast. And we can't do it, so for example, our technology goes down. Then we can't take action.
okay, so if we have a board member who has to teleconference in, but we don't set up for everyone else, for the public to teleconference, then we're okay. It's more like
They will
what
have to
Harvey was
post.
saying, that you have, in case you have a meeting somewhere that needs to be teleconferenced.
So your location of meetings, it's either the location of meetings.
I just
and the
have-
teleconference. It said all teleconference locations shall be accessible. So yes, people should be able to teleconference to join in. And then it talks about teleconferencing during a personal emergency. That's an individual that has a personal emergency. You still have to open it to the public wherever they are at. They have to say, hey, when there's a meeting, and it has to be posted on your agenda, because I had to put our address as to where I was going to be at in my office. So you have to be pretty specific with the agenda, where they're going to be, so that the public has access to be at that location. To watch and be able to make public comment. Because the first thing they also talk about in that board is, do you have anybody there from the public? That's,
Anyone over 18.
they just say anyone in public.
Yeah, well, this says over 18.
Oh, okay. So. If you're teleconferencing, it has to be put on the agenda and that person's address.
Where they're at.
Where they're
That's
at,
wrong.
because then you're- But then
I
you
don't,
give,
yeah, I didn't read that.
No,
in there
okay.
anywhere.
When a board member is approved to participate remotely due to emergency circumstances, The board member is not required to participate from a location which is accessible to the public, and the location does not need to be identified on the agenda.
Yeah, that's what
That's a personal emergency.
yeah, for the
Right.
personal, that's what I'm talking about. And then right here, the last two paragraphs say that. And that's why I'm wondering if these last two paragraphs really, are supposed to be with this personal emergency stuff.
I think so.
Because then it says the district shall also provide public access to the meeting via two-way, I mean, that,
They're all under the same government code.
yeah, I mean, it doesn't make any sense to me. Anyway, well, I find these kind of vague. I don't know if anyone else does, but I like things to be a little more specific, but that's just the way it is, I guess, and
I think it's vague,
it's really
so that
vague.
you don't get yourself in trouble. I think it's vague
Well-
for a reason.
Well, but I mean, that's just, it doesn't. This must be more like if you are gonna do that, these are the rules for that, but it doesn't really give a circumstance where you would. Because you don't, I mean, you can't even have more than 2 board members on teleconferencing at the same time.
Right.
So why would you worry about having the public on teleconferencing if you don't need to even give the person's location? I mean, if there's something, anyway, if I'm the only one who's all screwed up about it, we'll just go ahead and pass it.
But it also states that the agenda shall include information describing how members of the public can access the platform. So that there is an address.
No, it would have to be, I mean, not an
The agenda
address,
shall include.
should be an address to the link.
Right.
Maybe we gotta provide the public with the same link that the board members
It would be a
gonna
meeting
call
link.
in on.
Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, cause they don't really say that either, huh? It's kind of weird.
Yeah.
I don't mind approving it and stuff, Madam President, I just, I've gotta say that I'm not real clear about what it says.
Yeah, you know what, there's so much added on to this that it muddles it. Because it did say here too, the district may, in its discretion, provide a physical location from which the public may attend or comment.
Right,
But we also may not.
right. But
So-
if
I
you
thought
do,
if you have it on,
we stream it on
stream it,
YouTube.
that's what that
But
means.
that's
I
not,
think.
yeah.
No,
but
that's different.
YouTube Is, there's no ability to participate in the meeting on
You
YouTube.
can just watch
So
it.
it's only if it's a Zoom type of meeting where the public can speak, you can call on them for
Mhm.
comments.
Anyway,
Um,
okay. Well, I'm okay with it. I just wanted to say that I feel like those parts are vague in there and I don't know if there's and there's some crossing out still in this copy.
Your copy is different.
We can table it, you know, in that, and anything else.
I mean, in this one on page 5, there's crossouts on it, so we have to clean that up. But yeah,
Oh,
Right,
I see.
that's what's my
Yeah.
question
Yeah.
on those last 2 paragraphs. When would that happen? Because it just says the district shall provide public access, but
But not
No.
necessarily.
not necessarily, and it doesn't have to be connected to a personal board member's emergency.
So you know what, so this got really muddled because of COVID, because when we started broadcasting,
Right.
when we started attending meetings remotely. So I know that like there were certain times that certain things ended, so on page 5.
Well, I'm just wondering if that shouldn't be taken out.
They're taking out the agenda, it's shall be posted.
Yeah, agendas are being posted at all teleconference locations, that went away. And then
Mhm.
like in 2026, another part of this is gonna go
Gonna go
away.
away, yeah.
So I think this one is gonna be muddled for a while.
Right. Well, I'm fine with it. I just
Okay.
wanted to bring that up because it doesn't seem to be real super clear to me and maybe we just will
Yeah, you're
make
right.
sure we don't do any
Take them in all the way
teleconferencing.
through.
Yeah,
Or if we do, we just make sure we go in here and find the
exact
wording that says we
and-
need to do this, and, you know. I think we'll be,
It also references other government codes, so it might get a little bit more specific with the noise codes that we're defining in, but you better not see. them.
Why do you guys have to broadcast now still on YouTube if we're out of all that and people? Why do we do it still? Is that just a courtesy thing that we're doing?
good question. I think because during COVID, they recognized that there are times when people can't attend, you know, there are emergency situations where people can't attend and they need to. So we never even thought of that before. It used to be you missed the meeting. And then COVID came along and all these laws got, or government codes got put into, and now they're trying to phase them all out, but it's gonna take a while because they gave this long period of time for all that to be, you know, it could be this way. I remember the one, and I think it might be one of these that struck, it'll be this way till 2024.
Oh, that makes sense, because
When they
COVID's
made
still
that.
around.
Yeah. So,
Does that also include live broadcasting?
This one didn't, I haven't seen.
I
anything about-
haven't seen one on live
Because I could
broadcast.
see, because that's what we do.
That's.
Right.
that we're like,
And maybe that ends in 2026. I don't know. Maybe it'll never end.
I don't think it's a rule.
Yeah, I don't think it's a rule either. I think you should just do it for.
The courtesy that we've been doing, continue.
Yeah.
I could get the numbers
And
for you,
people
how many
watch it.
actually. I think it was like.
Oh, yeah, I mean, I know, you know, it's easier to watch and if you just want to watch, but
Yeah.
it also is a broadband to anybody and everybody, and I just was wondering if it's just a courtesy to, I mean, why we still can continue and
Well,
so.
I kind of, you know, I like it because some people interpret meetings one way.
Mhm.
And this way, people don't necessarily have to come to the meeting to get their own interpretation. They can actually see it. So. But I don't know, that hasn't come down the pipe yet for anybody to say quit broadcasting.
Yeah, I bet.
And
It's
I'm not sure
makes
who
it
even,
easy sometimes.
I don't even, that wasn't us that made that
I
decision.
think it came from the county, wasn't it? Or did the
No.
state do it?
Where's your guys' just.
I remember talking about. Huh. Was
I
it
don't know how
like
it
Jen?
come about. Yeah, I don't know how.
I thought it came from that just because of COVID, and I thought.
It was during
COVID
COVID, that is why it started.
Actually,
Zoom started.
yeah, but after
But
Zoom
the-
ended, then
but the
they
YouTube-
started putting it on YouTube. I noticed a lot of districts do it, but I don't believe that was anything.
I
that
don't
the
think we
board
did. I
Talked
didn't
about.
hear it discussed. That must be just something our IT person did. Decided to do.
It would have been.
No, it happened back during COVID and we had to follow somebody, I think it was a county guideline. That said we had to do. Well, the teleconferencing, you know, this is.
The Zoom and
It
you
was
could,
Zoom.
you could,
We had to do.
you could,
Yeah.
ask questions.
Cause I was on Zoom meetings
I was.
But the live,
and
You can
yeah,
ask
and you could
questions.
ask questions,
but
but
the
with
televised,
this live streaming.
the
you
live
can't.
streaming. I don't recall, do you recall this, how that came about?
Mhm. I think it was just like I said, it was all the rules and the stuff that came on that it was easier. It was probably.
So the public could hear
We
the.
have have Dana, direct Dana to try to find out what precipitated the.
Yeah, and we still had David Ellie, and it may have been something David Ellie would know the answer to, but maybe Rico might know the answer to that.
I'm thinking it may have been just another mechanism for the public to be able to watch
Mhm.
versus not participate in the actual Zoom.
But I don't think
Because
that
they
they
had
had.
to
Well, we didn't do
control-
both at the same time.
No, we
I don't think We did
Yes.
YouTube and Zoom
That's,
at the same time.
I think so.
you did.
Yeah.
Well, anyway,
Anyway, I'm just curious, and then, and if there's and if it costs a certain cost, I'd like to see what that is.
okay, so do I have a motion to approve the second reading for bylaw 9320 meetings and notices?
Make the motion.
You wanna second that?
I'll second that.
Okay, and all in favor?
E
The
The motion passes.
with questions.
With questions.
With question.
Lots of questions.
Okay. Action item G, second reading bylaws 93-23 meeting conduct. And
I. So this one is different. No. Okay, if everyone can look on the second page of it, mine's page 70. But it's under public participation and then it has 1, 2, and 3. Okay, so in number 2, the second sentence says the board shall take no action or discussion on any item not appearing on the posted agenda except as authorized by law. And that's public comment. That's not agendized. And then the very next one, number 3, says without taking action, board members or district staff members may briefly respond to statements made or questions posed by the public about items not appearing on the agenda. So on the upper one, it says you not to, and then on the second one, it says you can.
if it's not take action.
Or discussion. Well, but this first one says it shall take no action or discussion. I'm gonna do that. And then this number 3 says without taking action, board members may briefly respond. Or, so I just seem like a conflict. Between those two. And I was just wanting to know whether, one member abstains, that the abstention shall not be counted for purposes of determining whether a majority of the membership of the board has taken action. So what happens if you only have 4 board members present that make your quorum, and then one has to abstain? Right. So it just doesn't pass. Yeah. Just like today, everything has to be. All of us, yeah. Everybody.
I think yours may be. Because mine doesn't have that in. Wait a minute, the board shall be given members of the public an opportunity to address the board on any items of the public and subject matter jurisdiction of the board, either before or during the board's consideration of the item. At a time so designated on the agenda at a regular meeting, members of the public may bring before the board matters that are not listed on the agenda. Board shall take no action or discussion on any item not appearing on the posted agenda, except as authorized by law. So that would be like if it was an emergency. So they can bring it up, but we can't act on it.
But let them read number 3.
Yeah, read them.
Okay.
I just pulled it up for you. Without taking action, the board members or district staff members may briefly respond to statements made or questions posed by the public.
This is straight from your policy.
About items not appearing on the agenda.
Additionally, on their own initiative or in response to questions posed by the public. Board members or staff members may ask a question for clarification, make a brief announcement, or make a brief report on their own.
I'm not seeing the.
This had came up during our board training and we were told that we were not to say anything.
Okay, but the action that they're talking about, the action that they're talking about isn't an action, a board action. It's where we can make a direction, which we will do. Sometimes somebody will say, well, what about how many fish are in the river right now? And we'll say, Jennifer, and this would be a directive and an action. Jennifer, can you find out how many fish are in the river right now? So the action isn't on the item, it's on giving a directive. I think that's what you're.
Oh, that's what I'm saying. I get it, but I'm just saying on one paragraph it says don't do it, and then on the next paragraph it says you can do it.
Well, it says you can direct somebody to do something, but
No,
you
it
can't
says
take
you-
action on an
no.
item.
And that's not what it says.
That's not what it
you have
says
to have
here,
any
it does
discussion.
say, on your own initiative, you can.
Are you talking about number 2?
3.
Three,
Three,
Without
okay.
taking action, without taking action, no.
yeah.
But you can
Have a
can
discussion, up
briefly
above it, there's
respond.
no action or discussion. Then it says, without taking action, you can have. questions
I
posed
think what they're
without
talking
chair.
about,
So,
the action being approving or disapproving something. But that number 3 is saying, but you can
Without
direct
taking an
Yeah.
action.
to take an
Mhm.
action on it but you're not gonna approve or disapprove something that is not on the agenda.
You're not gonna vote on
Right.
anything.
You're not gonna vote.
well, yeah, I know you can't vote on
But you
it,
can-
but they're,
You
it's
can,
pretty.
as a board,
It's just
we can
another
say-
vagueness.
It is.
And then this says exactly the
Yeah,
same thing,
that's
so
it,
it's.
it
it's
does.
right.
I just wanted to clarify to be sure.
Questions. With the, when you work with Fred, did that adoption of, did that say how you were gonna run your meetings? Does it coincide with the board policy? Or was that something completely different?
I don't think have we seen the finals and did we approve
I don't
them?
think we have to.
I'll ask.
I'm just
But I mean,
asking if it
before when we
has
had
been-
board training though, we did have board training.
You had
And we-
adopted something
Right.
as to how you conduct certain.
I mean, this is how we do it. I mean,
Yeah.
you know, this
Yeah.
is how we do it, but I just thought that it just conflicts each other because we just do it because.
Yeah, I
Even
didn't know
though-
if it conflicted with what you guys had agreed upon when you worked on that manual.
No. I don't.
No, we were gonna not have discussion. We had agreed that we should not, if it's not on the agenda, we shouldn't discuss it, but we have directed.
Mhm.
If Martha has directed staff to, or could you, for the next meeting, can we find something out about that or something?
Or you can even direct your public, well, I think a really appropriate person for you to talk to would be blah, 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 and,
Right.
Well, see, I didn't think we could do even that because when we had the instance of the lady that came and wanted to talk about the cafeteria and food, service program, then I didn't get to say to her during the meeting, but afterwards, I talked with her and told her,
Oh.
to see.
But I did at that meeting, I said appropriate person for you to talk to would be our wellness committee or the cafeteria manager. Yeah, you can do that. But you can't say, oh, that's a good one, let's all vote if we should have that program in our school.
I
You
make
can't
a
do that.
motion that we have that we
Yeah,
can't do that because it's not
No.
agendized.
But you can send them to talk to somebody.
I
maybe
think the
for-
It says, down there, it says furthermore, the board or board member may provide a reference to
Mhm.
staff or other resources for factual information.
I think the gist of it is just to keep it limited,
Right,
so that
Yeah.
we're not entering into a huge discussion. That's what I'm gonna put from. What size screen is this?
I don't know, I just got it.
Rachel, this, the one crashed.
Nice.
I have a 17.
Okay, so anyway, I'll make a motion to approve the second reading of the bylaw 9323 meeting conduct.
okay, any second,
Second.
all in favor,
Yeah.
and motion passes. Okay, and all of these are discussion items. Number 4, our first readings of board policies. They're all up for discussion. We aren't passing anything here.
You can even just table them because you haven't even had time to really look at them.
I haven't,
Yeah, this is just
Yeah,
information.
that's information.
yeah. I guess unless anybody has something they'd have to discuss in any of these at this point. Okay,
No. I barely got through those that I had to read.
well, the power goes out, power comes on.
Yes.
Computer, internet doesn't work.
So I make a motion that we table this.
Actually,
No,
we don't.
no,
We don't.
This is just-
It's not.
We don't even need that.
Okay, then we have, we're moving into number 5, public comment on closed session items. Do I have any public comment on closed session items? And seeing none, we will adjourn to closed session.
They have 112.